Hello and welcome to another session of Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. It's that time of the month again where we look at the colour readings for each birthday for the following month, and we're almost heading towards the end of the year at a great pace. It's coming up to November. So how has your October gone? Did you use your colours? Mine for October were cyan on grey. And yes, I have been using them. And it's interesting that they've actually resolved a dilemma for me. The grey was all about uncertainty, confusion. And what were those about? Well, basically, it was whether or not I would continue to do these sessions. Mainly because they take such a long time to both read and also edit, but also because there hasn't been a great deal of online engagement with them. Nevertheless, the cyan says, wait. And so I did. And out of the blue, so to speak, came a private message from someone who had been invited by a subscriber to have a look and to consider and to give some feedback. I received that feedback on my channel's Gmail account. I'll put a link to that down in the show notes below, in case you would prefer to talk to me privately rather than engage on a public forum. Nevertheless, it was very heartening, and so here I am once again. I hope that you too have been using your colours if you are so inclined, and that perhaps it has made a difference to the way in which you would normally respond to situations in your everyday life. If you have, please let me know, because I'd be interested to find out just how accurate a lot of these readings are. They certainly are exceptionally accurate when someone is choosing their own colours, but these are general readings, and so not everything will resonate for every person, and I'd like to know just how close those resonations might be, if at all. So what are we going to do this time? Well, the oracle I've chosen for this session is the Medicine Woman Oracle. It's primarily feminine, but then so is cyan. And hopefully it will have some messages for you that will be of benefit as we go through the process. So, people born in the month of July, how is your November going to travel? Let's get a bit of a colour reading, but first, an oracle card. And we'll pop that one down under there to look at later. And now I want a colour reading for people born in July to establish how their November 2025 is going to travel. People in July for November 2025. And we begin with green on green. We move on to white on yellow. And by the end of the month, it's red on white. And the underlying energy is blue on black. We have two colours that are repeated. Firstly, green on green. These are the colours that, while they are in the same circle, give a double dose of that colour's meaning. Then we have white, which appears as the action within the majority of the month, that then becomes the driver towards the end of the month. And underlying it all, we have blue on black, which permeates throughout the entirety of the month. You'll notice that blue on black is really quite dark in comparison to the colours that we have here throughout the month. So it will actually bring the energy down a bit. When we have black in the internal world, it has a number of meanings. It means you need time out. It means that you need to get in touch with your own inner psychic self. It means that you could even be feeling a little depressed. And in the real world, there is an overwhelming amount of work that needs to be done. There is organization to be done, things that require your attention. And you are the person who is constantly working hard to carry out all of those tasks. This combination, blue on black, is overwork. You're exhausted, almost. There's still energy there. In fact, the black internally means that the energy can be dragged out from anywhere. But the blue in the real world means it's uninspiring energy. It's a bit of a drag. So what happens as we come into the month? Well, green on green is all about new pastures, new horizons, lots of opportunities, changes in values. This is luck. This is a sudden change of your entire way of doing things, environmentally, socially, mentally, emotionally. All of this is tied up in something changing dramatically, quickly, and without any forewarning. Now, when we attach the underlying energy to this, we can have green and blue together. Now, green and blue form a type of cyan, which is basically the ability to create some sort of peace and harmony and contentment in the real world. Things could be quiet. At the same time, you might also find that the opportunities that you have in the real world that are offered to you in the real world also create more work. On the other hand, you could have green as the driver alongside black as the driver. Now, when we have that combination, here we have, I'm feeling left out, I want to be alone, but at the same time, I've got to get out. I've got to do something new, something different. So together, these two offer you the opportunities within all of this green for a new life. This is holding you back. What are you going to do about it? Because if we put green over black, we have not much difference than we have green and black. If we put blue over green, there is not much difference between blue and green together. All right? So opportunities are there. The new life beckons. There is hope on the horizon. There's a great deal of luck around. Are you able to grasp it? That's the question. By the middle of the month, things have turned around entirely. White on yellow is almost as far away from blue and black as you can possibly get. Certainly, the yellow internally means that now you have been awoken. Somehow or other, there is a lot of information, new details, new knowledge that has suddenly impinged on your unconscious mind. Yellow internally, however, also has to do with fears. Are you going to face the future with a fair degree of trepidation? Are there things out there in the real world that are likely to frighten you? And the answer here is, of course, yes, because this is asking you to take an entirely new life. White in the real world is energy being able to be dissipated in any direction, but also coming in at you from any direction. There is a sense here of enlightenment and overwhelming information, overwhelming reality that doesn't sit very comfortably with this wanting to withdraw and do your duty and just simply stay put where you are. If we take the white and the blue together as actions, then what we have here is a different perspective. You know what has to be done, but suddenly there's an easier way of doing things. Or maybe there is a way of showing you that, hey, you don't actually have to do everything yourself. This is the voluntary sacrifice combination. And as a voluntary sacrifice, you're often finding yourself taking on roles and taking on tasks that are not necessarily all yours by right. Then we have yellow and black together as the underlying drivers. Here, the need to get away and just be left alone. Here, I'm afraid of trying anything new. And the two of them actually are more comfortable bedfellows as drivers than you would at first imagine. On the other hand, you can also cross these over. White on black is, I need to be left alone, but reality keeps dragging itself into my consciousness and I have to deal with it. So the more I withdraw, the more I'm being dragged out. On the other hand, blue on yellow is the teacher. Here, I have information, and here I understand it. I know how to disseminate it. So between the two of them, blue and yellow are all about being able to digest information, understand it, and disseminate it. But blue and yellow together, when we mix them as colors, form green. Green is opportunities for a new start in some other direction. By the end of the month, we have red on white. Now, white internally means that now you've had this massive enlightenment, this massive clash with reality that's happened here has suddenly brightened you up internally. And in the real world, here you are ready to face the world and to be your own boss, to take charge, but also to do something impulsive. Red and white often has to do with the creation of a final outcome, a final decision that's been made, and now you are in charge of whatever it is that you've now thrown yourself into. If we take the red and the blue from the underlying energy as the actions, red and blue together are representing the father and the mother. This is the parent. Together they make purple. Purple is having fun, but it's also creation and destruction. So there is a struggle here, a challenge between all of the energy to dominate and all of the energy to passively just simply do what needs to be done. On the other hand, internally, you're fighting between the black and white energies, which is pretty similar to what we've got here. The black and white energies, but as needs, as drives. I want to be left alone. My goodness, reality keeps jumping in and waking me up. Red on black is always a sexuality problem. It's got nothing to do with sex or gender. What it has to do is how you present yourself to the world. Are you in charge of your representation to the world? It's a difficult one to master because what you are representing to yourself, to the world here, in the red in the external world means that you're showing yourself to be far more dominant than you actually feel. On the other hand, we have blue and white, which is pretty much the same as we had here. That's voluntary sacrifice energy, the having to view things from a different perspective. And because it's linked to that sexuality problem, that sexuality outcome, perhaps you might even have to reconsider what your role is and the way in which you carry out your life's goals and ambitions and just everyday existence. Let's have a look at what's missing in terms of colours to see if we can find something to help you along. You have black, you have white, you have red, you have yellow, you have green, you have blue. There's no brown, there's no orange, there's no grey, there's no purple, there's no pink, and there's no cyan. Yet every one of these colours, these 6 colours, is already available within this reading. For example, orange exists as a combination of red and yellow. Brown comes as a combination of red, blue, and yellow. Purple comes as a combination of red and blue. Grey combines white and black. Pink combines red and white. And cyan is a vague combination between white and blue primarily, but with just a touch of green. So out of those 6 colors, which is the most appealing and which is the least appealing? Orange represents courage and confidence. Brown is goals and skills that you need to obtain those goals. Gray is about overcoming confusion, finding clarity, finding the middle road. Purple is about creating and destroying, having fun, but also making sure that what you build is different to what you had. Cyan is about bliss and comfort and being able to feel wonderful about everything that happens around you. And pink is vulnerability. It's also love. Do you have what it takes to be able to put those colors into your life? The best and the worst of them will help you do so. And then maybe as you face this sexuality issue and the new perspective that you will have about yourself, you'll be able to head into December feeling a lot more confident, because there's very little in confidence here. It does appear, but it's crossed as partly a need and definitely an overkill drive. Let's now examine the oracle card. What does it have to say? All potentialities. I open the dance of synchronicities. All potentialities, they're all here. Whether it's stuff that you're already doing or stuff that is a combination of what you're already doing, you have everything you need, July people. You just need to put it in a different way in order to attain what you're after. Sounds like fun. Wow. Well, some of that was pretty intense, wasn't it? I hope you're finding something useful out of these color readings. And if you're watching them and don't really want to comment online on the open forum, feel free to send me a message through the Gmail account that's attached to this channel. I'll be more than happy to interact with you. In the meantime, may the colors of your life bring you joy and happiness and all of the things that you desire. We're coming up to Christmas soon. That'll be the next time. See you.